That's on.
Turning on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks.
Football season. You guys have a wedding last weekend?
Yeah,
That'd been nice. To do
yeah.
Right.
Graduation parties are what we're doing a lot of right now.
that. I know.
That's an A yesterday.
Too long. Okay, I'm ready. I mean, Bill. Should we have?
We're all on,
Two A's.
recorder and everything.
You're on, everything's on. You're broadcasting out in the parking lot. You got the recorder on for audio and you're on live on YouTube.
All right. We'll call to order the Township Trustee meeting, May 24th, 2021. The time is 7:34. Please stand for a pledge of the flag and start the vote. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, we ask that you guide our decisions tonight to best benefit the residents of Osnaburg Township. We ask that you keep things going great in the COVID-19 virus, that it keeps lifting and getting better and goes away, and keep sending us good weather. Amen. All right. Approval of the meeting agenda. I got two things under the road report. Anybody else?
I'm going to ask for an executive session at the end. We won't be taking any action. It's just for discussion. And we'll be inviting zoning inspector Mary Brockman.
All right.
I have nothing to add. I'll just comment on fire report.
Yeah.
I think I got everything on there.
All right. All right. With that, approval of trustee meeting minutes from 5/10/2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented for May 10th.
Trustee Varian, second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? With that, next we'll move to the treasurer's report of 5/24/2021.
Trustee Varian moves to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Trustee Griffith, seconds.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No public speaks tonight? Fire report.
Good evening. I'm going to start with the second issue on the agenda there for the fire report. So you might be aware, a few weeks ago, there was an issue that came out in the paper with another township of some funds not being accounted for EMS billing in Perry Township. And the trustees came out and basically put everything right on the fire chief. And I just when I read that, it occurred, I mean, I was already aware of this, but it just occurred to me to bring this up publicly, state that from my perspective, I don't do anything with billing here. The only thing that happens is Assistant Chief Parker sends the information of the patients that we transport over to the fiscal office, and then the billing's all handed on that end. So I just wanted that to be clear because of what happened. I'm not saying that that's would ever happen. I mean, that's a unique situation out there, but they put the whole thing right on the fire chief and said that either he should have known or knew what was going on. And I can tell you here, I don't do anything with billing.
Yeah, and just to let you know, Chief, as soon as I heard that way back, I investigated, but over there, why the fire chief probably is more responsible, he does prepare the budget for the trustees.
Okay.
He's very more,
Much more
he
hands-on.
gets the money
All right.
and his job is to account for it. He has a lot of different responsibilities, but then again, I know that that's a different animal when
Right.
you got that big of a
He's
township.
probably full-time.
Yeah, he is
Yeah,
full-time.
Yeah,
So I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that we were all on the same page with that issue.
yeah.
It's good to, that's
Yeah,
good to put on- good to put on
basically,
record.
just like Chief said, him, Amy, the staff up there, they put it on their tablets. Once it leaves there, other than they show a weekly report that Sue and I match up with, then we get it from a high billing, because what they send goes to high billing. Then we have a check and balance that's 2 times over that we check with them to make sure the runs and the balancer's up. So nothing like that should ever happen.
So the reason I skipped that is because a couple of these other issues on here are kind of tied together a little bit. The first is one of our members, Josh Peterson, accepted a full-time position with Columbus Fire. So I have a letter of resignation effective May 27th. So I could turn that in. I have a copy for his file. Do you need that here?
Yeah.
The trustees are. So I believe he's working that day, so when his shift is done, and
On May,
he gave
on May
27th.
27th?
Yeah.
Okay.
He gave the 2-week notice now, okay, his final day. So once that takes place, we'll be down to 15 employees on the fire roster. Trustee Griffith had asked a couple months ago to update how the 3 newest employees were doing as far as their hours. So through April and May, Skylar Fernandez just recently got cleared for shift. She had to do a lot more training before she could get cleared. So her total time is just at the 20.25 hours.
Mhm.
DJ Williams and Charlie Pressler both got cleared quicker. And so you see DJ Williams that's paid hours, by the way, that you see on there, 66 and a half during April and May. Charlie Pressler wasn't able to work as much early on because he had a family health issue that he had to take care of, so he wasn't quite available as much. But I expect those numbers to increase as we move forward, especially with Skylar. She has a lot more availability than the other 2. So we're kind of moving right along where I thought we would be with them. I think they'll be able to pick up a little bit more as we move forward. And then I was speaking with Trustee Griffith here just before the meeting. We're having some issues still with that, of getting all of our shifts covered. And one of the issues that we ran into, and I don't know that this is this isn't necessarily going to fix the problem, but it will help a little bit. Years ago, the trustees capped the number of hours in a 2-week period at 115, I believe is what it is. And sometimes an employee will go over that. I know Mr. Lowry brought it to my attention a while back. We're trying not to let that happen. But every once in a while, something slips through the cracks. So my question is, if we're in a situation where we only have one person on shift and somebody who, say, is at 100 hours for the 2 weeks, if they call and say, hey, I'm available, are we allowed to make exceptions to that 115 hours? Or are we stuck to it?
Does it bump to overtime? Is that what you said?
The schedule part of it, Chief, is the 115 is 50, it's the 55 and 55 is what it, and I read that right off the fire stuff, and that's what it was. And that's what the scheduling is. Now, if you're running into a problem, you already got somebody scheduled and I can just imagine on a 24-hour shift,
Right.
they get called out and it's going to add on. No one has called me out on that on the auditors or anything to go over it because they were scheduled, the original
Right.
schedule,
So
and then they were called in was extra.
if they're not, let's say they're not scheduled, they're scheduled for 100 paid hours in the 2 weeks, but then there's a call off, and now I only have one person on shift for a 24-hour shift. Is a person that already has 100 hours, are they then allowed to pick that shift up because they weren't scheduled for it, but now if they pick it up, now they are scheduled, but they weren't scheduled originally. See what I'm saying?
Right.
Brian,
So-
what was the purpose of capping it at 115?
Was it overtime?
What's that?
Why did they be capped?
Because you have a volunteer fire department, and
Okay,
because you're volunteer, the overtime issues become an issue.
so it becomes overtime.
Yes, it
after
becomes
overtime.
paid
So
overtime.
you said 55 and 55, which
So
is
you meant-
So you
110.
got 110 hours in
Okay.
a 2-week period.
So anything over that 110
Yeah.
period is overtime. Is that correct?
Well, it is, but it always commonly has always bumped up here or there, and it's been paid as straight time
Hmm.
because situations happen.
Is it limited to 55 per week then?
It's not per week,
Oh,
it's per your
Pay
pay
period.
period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you could work in that 110 in 2 weeks, you could work an 80 and a 30
Yes.
to meet your 110. I see. Okay.
So I
It's a pay
guess
period.
that would help a little bit because we do have some employees that are willing to put that much time, and not all of them, of course, but we do have some. But I need to know if I'm allowed to authorize them,
Hmm.
you know,
Over the 110.
if a opening
Right.
comes up, or like what I was talking to Trustee Griffith, we'll put the schedule out and, you know, it's put together, and then when the calendar comes out, any shifts that are available are highlighted in yellow, and then people are free to pick those up, first come, first served. And most of the time that happens, but sometimes we'll get up to right to a day and the shift isn't covered. So again, if we get the day before and somebody says, hey, I'm at 100 hours, but I see tomorrow's shift is open, can I work it? So a situation like that might come up.
But if you have only one in there, we're basically paying them for nothing.
Well, we're paying them, no, they still go on the calls, but we have to wait for mutual aid to arrive.
So transport.
So no, it's better to have one than none, but in that case, we have to wait for mutual aid.
Right, okay.
So I think what Rick's trying to say is we have coming up here in the schedule uncovered shifts.
We're still having.
No, I understand what you're getting at, yeah. If you have somebody that's met the hours and there's an open shift and they're willing to work it, you're allowed to do it.
Mhm. And then if I am, is there a limit to that? Because I know some people.
What's the money?
My question.
Well, first, they answer this correctly. Let me talk to the prosecutor and let me look up everything, because I've never had a situation where you trustees approve all this,
Mhm.
because it always stayed within that guideline. But, emergencies, a situation where the chief's saying the shifts aren't covered, they need to be covered. If there's somebody is available, how do we handle it? Say yes, before you go make a resolution or
Yeah.
something.
What you're saying is it's not the issue of paying, it's the issue of legality because of the.
It's a volunteer fire
Okay.
department.
All right, so, we'll check
They
into it.
voluntarily make themselves available, but if the shift can't cover or you get a call off, I need to ask the question, can you bring another person in that's willing to do that? And do you pay them overtime?
Mr. Riley, that would be my question. Is overtime paid in the 111th hour? I would be curious to know that.
I don't have this all in front of me. I wish I kind of knew that, but I remember reading it was on a 14-day period of time.
Okay.
And it was when I say 110 hours stick in my head is what it was. So 55 hours a week
Sure.
roughly, but I know they work 24-hour, they take the 24-hour shifts, but some people come in and fill in a few hours here or there. Plus, while they're there, if they're at 24-hour shift, they're getting paid for the 20, but then if they get called out, instantly they could be called out and be at 24 on that one shift that normally would be 20.
All right.
Look, I would ask you trustees, let me
Let's
look into it. So
Shelf
we
that
can,
in 2 weeks? Or we gonna-
yeah, I can.
But I think it's more than what you're saying, Brian. It's not a call-in. He's saying on his normal schedule, he now has days that there is no coverage. So it's not like somebody called off. There is no coverage. And so we need to find out how flexible that is, because.
Well, it's both. It's both. If you got a call off or you need to schedule,
Right.
because he's going to know when he writes the schedule, if hey, wow, we got 4 shifts here, I can't get them covered.
Right.
Can he make the move right then and there, and what steps need to be done?
Yes.
And the other issue that we were discussing is that I thought when we talked about this back in January, our hourly rate for the fire department was just hitting about 50% across the county. But Chief Shear's saying that at least what's surrounding us, we're below that. And so people who work multiple jobs, they're choosing to work shifts where they're getting paid the most.
So it's just an issue that's coming up and it's becoming more prevalent where even though we just hired the 3, we're still having difficulty covering all the shifts. And, we've talked about this before, everybody works at least one other job. Some people are full-time elsewhere, other multiple part-time jobs, whatever the case may be, but, we're not getting all of the shifts covered. And it's, quite frankly, it's not safe, even though we do have one person on at a time. That's very much less than ideal to send somebody by themselves on a call, waiting for mutual aid to get there. So,
How many people would you need if you?
honestly, I can't put a number on it because I don't know what people, even if we hired more people, I don't know what anybody's availability would be. And the issue that we run in with hiring more people is there's a significant cost hiring those people.
Oh, absolutely.
And what he's saying is we're not their first choice.
I'm sure.
Right.
So Amy and I have talked about it quite a bit, and I'm just not sure what will fix the problem anytime soon. Because, there's a lot of different angles to this. Even with trying to hire more people, we're having trouble. It's not that people aren't necessarily qualified. And when I say qualified, I mean, yeah, they have their state fire card, and yes, they go to EMT school, but we do not have the resources to train people regularly that are new.
Right.
Plus, what you start getting into is, you have too many new people, then you can't put them together. So right now, we can only, even if we were to hire, we could only afford to hire experienced people that could come in, go through a short orientation, and then be able to go on shifts so that they can work with people who are less experienced. And we're just not getting that. But I was telling Trustee Griffith, we're not unique to this problem. It's all over.
Oh, yeah, the trickle down of the hire problem is now going to people that are certified medics, people that have education.
Right.
The hiring problem is a problem.
I've talked to the different fire chiefs and other people that work in other fire departments, and everybody's having the same issue. They're having a hard time staffing.
Oh, yeah. They're having everywhere. It ain't just fire.
So if we don't come back to this for 2 weeks, while Fiscal Officer Larry has a chance to look at it,
It's actually going to be 3 weeks.
what are we going to do for those empty shifts?
As it stands now, if it stays available for people to pick up, sometimes people pick them up leading right up to that day. But if
Okay.
not, and there's one person on shift, we'll just do it how we normally do it. I will say there are a couple of shifts where there's nobody scheduled.
No one's scheduled yet.
And that rarely happens, but it is
All right.
starting to come up a little bit more often.
So my concern in discussing it with him was that those happen to be during our festival. And highly likely we may need someone.
So if we do get to that day, I'm not sure if we could even do this or not, but see if a neighboring department would be willing to assist in some way. I don't know if that's even possible.
I think it sounds like that whether it's you and the captains or somebody needs to start a investigation group or something in to see what's exactly where our accounts are, where the wages, where our issues are, because if we need to do something on a levy at some point, I think we better get investigating
That's what I
to
said,
see
we
where we're
have to
at,
know about.
rather than wait until
Mhm.
we get too far behind.
Right.
Because you're probably talking a couple of years to get a levy passed. You might get lucky passed on the first time, but a lot of them take a couple runs. But just to see where we're at.
And we can look into it. Trustee Griffith brought that up, that is one parameter to look at is pay, but I don't know that that's the only reason.
Yeah. Throwing money at it.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, throwing money at it might not solve it.
Well, I'm not saying it's just, that's what I'm saying. What the committee needs to do, they need to figure out what it is or whatever and bring it to us so we know
Right.
what we need to do. Because if we just ignore it, eventually there's going to be nothing.
Right. We can sit down and look at it and then we should be able to have some of that information by the next meeting.
I mean, I'm not saying it has to come in 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
No, but
It
we could
just-
have an idea.
we need to start really looking at our budget and see where we're at, and
Right.
because I think if and when we have to go for any money, if we do ever, the more information we got, the more likely we are to be successful with the voters.
Right. The next issue, just an update on 241, our engine. Trustee, we had a problem with the air leak, and we got the hose reel fixed, but I don't know if Trustee Barron had talked to any of you about if it was from the last meeting or not, the way that we decided to supply air.
I can go over that. So 241 engine went in for the auxiliary air pump. The auxiliary air pump pretty much keeps the tank full so that anyone can jump into that fire engine, fire it up, and drive away with full airbags. You don't have to wait for the engine compressor to build the air. So that system was not functioning correctly. Took it to R&B's. There were 3 options. It was new pump, $1,000. It was rebuilt pump, $500, and it was put an air chuck on the side of the truck for $150. And so after talking to Amy and Rick, they had the truck. It was, again, another truck out of service. We decided just to go the cheapest option, and because right now they plug the air tanker in with the air, and there was already air hanging there. So we thought, you know what, rather than spend $1,000, they left the pump in the truck, so we could still go back to it. They bypassed the pump and they put just an air chuck on the side of the building right below the shoreline. So you've got power, you've got air. And so we just, since they had the truck and we needed to make the move, we went ahead and did that. They got it back to us right away, so the truck's back in service. The problem was the reel up in the ceiling had a leak in a gasket. So as soon as you turn the air on, the actual reel will just blow air. So I pulled the thing off, had some O-rings at the farm, threw some O-rings in it, put it back together. That's not leaking anymore. What's happening is, and we have talked to R&B's about this, and I didn't get a chance to call them today. However the system is set up, when you put air to that air chuck, now that we have air, it fills that system, and there's no check valve. So as soon as you release it, all the air goes back out. You can just literally stand there and just blow it right back out the truck. So it's not, there's no check valve. Like, it's not keeping the air in the system. So we've got the reel fixed. We got all that dry. It's not leaking, so we can plug in the supply line. But now the next step is to say to R&B's, okay, what are we missing as far as how this air is supposed to stay in the system?
So it's probably blowing out when you're driving down the road.
It does.
It does.
When you start it up and just drive it,
It does.
it builds the pressure up, and the alarms go off.
Yep.
So that the air pressure's
yeah.
going up, but as soon as you shut it off, you can hear it coming out.
So it'll blow up the side of the truck the entire time.
Compressor
So
on the motor.
it's hooked up wrong at R&B's, or there's no check valve. So we have to decide how that's going to look. But they'll be able to fix it.
Yeah.
There's an air valve just sticking right out, right next to the compressor. So they just took the access of the compressor off and replumbed it, which was the cheapest and quickest way to go. Now, if we don't like that, I mean, we could buy a $900 pump.
I mean, I feel like that if they can correct that issue, this is the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the same way that we do the
It's
tanker.
less mechanical. You always have air at the station.
Yeah, I agree with
So-
this. Is that a special breakaway line, or they have to?
No, it's
No,
just
that's-
regular old air.
Yep, it's not a special line, but
But the 241's building pressure. Like, as it sits there, it'll build pressure and you can go.
right.
I mean, but so that's all working.
But if you wanted it immediately,
It,
okay.
yeah, you just, if the air leaks out, it's about a 1 to 2 minute delay.
So I'm going to call over there if I can, or if you can, we'll talk about
I
that.
think we can get it in tomorrow.
Okay, great. I'm sure it's something simple. The air system is not that complicated.
Right.
So
I mean, they've already worked on it, so they know what they're looking at, but
yeah, we'll just say, hey, that air's coming back on us. It's going in, but then it's coming back out. So, okay, cool.
Couple questions.
sure.
Yes.
The unit, if we were to spend the $1,000 and put this in, did that solve all the problems
Assuming
with the air?
I assume it would.
And what that does, what that helps you is when you pull it in the garage, when you plug in power to this, or you plug air into this?
Plug in power. If it's
Okay,
hooked up the right way.
the power then runs a compressor, I'm gonna
Right.
assume, that keeps that charged up.
Right.
Then when you pull out, it has a quick release, or how does that work? Like,
Well, if we just had the power, there's an auto eject.
okay, auto eject.
Yeah, it auto
That's the
ejects.
way it's meant to be? That's the way it should be? I mean, if it was like
That's the
that?
way the engine was originally built.
Built,
Okay.
yes,
All right.
yes.
And right now, this air, you got an airline drop down similar, but when you pull away, that airline goes out, but you lose your pressure, other than as the truck is now running, it can keep caught up until you shut it off.
Right.
So if you're out, and I don't think you ever probably do this, when you're out on the job, you don't shut it off there. So you're all charged up as long as the truck is running.
Never, I mean, never say never, but
Yeah,
never has there been a time that we shut the engine off.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I guess there could be another issue that would
Well,
make
and the
us
whole,
shut engine
and the
off,
whole
but we don't
concept
do
of
that.
the auxiliary air pump is when the bell rings, you can fire that truck and leave.
yes.
You don't wait for the airbag to go. That's the whole purpose. So think of the little air pump that pumps up your bike tire. That's in that engine. It's pumping the air.
It's a little air compressor.
Little air compressor.
Your trucks in Canton, do you have to unhook the lines there, or do they blow off?
We don't have any airlines connected to any of the vehicles. It's all shore lines and they have auto eject on it. So
What worries me is so nobody unplugs it. You get in and start it, and it comes off on its own.
you'd have to strangle yourself to get in. I mean, it's right in front of the door.
Yeah.
But I mean, you say auto eject, is it made to blow it
The
off?
power is only auto eject, like the shoreline.
Right.
The air is not auto.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So if somebody did get in the cab and the shoreline's still on, they start the truck, it's gonna blow off.
It will not.
Not the air.
Oh, no,
Just the
the
power.
power.
Yes.
The power.
Yes.
Yeah, the
power-
minute-
That's what scares me is somebody's gonna get in there someday and take off that air line on it. Maybe there's supposed to be an auto eject for a fire truck.
Well, I don't know if they make those or not, but like I said, you can't get in the driver's seat without.
You can't get into it without taking the line off.
The air
You
line.
would literally.
Oh, okay. I thought
The
you meant
line goes
short.
right by
You
the
can't-
door.
You can't open the door without taking the air off. It's placed perfectly. R&B's put a perfect spot.
Believe me, if the humans do it, they'll
I can't never say never, but we've had the tanker for how many years and
And
it's
yet-
the same setup.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that Rick and Amy went to, when we talked about it on the phone, we had to make a decision quick, was like, hey, the tanker, we already do this with the tanker. The airline's already there. Like, we can have this thing back on the road. So,
And just, like the cost difference.
Oh,
yeah.
And then ultimately, if for some reason it doesn't work, we still have that option.
My suggestion is figure out if this will work.
Yep.
If it don't hesitate, get it fixed.
Yep.
'Cause I see I have one of the line item funds, we have about $2,500 there. If it's 1,000 or something like
Okay.
that, to get it fixed and fix it right.
Is that only on 241, or could we possibly look at some tires for the fire truck, for the grass truck?
There was no further issue with that though.
Yeah, so we picked up a nail and it looked big, and I put my pliers yanked out with my pliers. It's for fun, but it was too short. So there's no hole. We were lucky though. It went in at an angle.
in the trap.
Yeah, it was in the trip. Yeah, it went in at an angle. But we talked about some beefier tires for the grass truck just because they did get hung up. Now that we've got extra weight, they've used that brush truck a lot.
Yeah.
So we're working the kinks out, but we've used it a lot. So that's great that it's back. But I was just curious, fiscal officer, if that was only on
Are you
Yeah.
two.
talking, are you
Not bad,
talking
yeah.
all four tires, like a 4-tire setup? Just get some prices. I mean,
Okay.
what you're running into just right now, at this time of the year, you're halfway through the year. And what I'm looking at, I can look down and see the unencumbered money,
Okay.
and I'm looking at it. There's enough there to do it, but don't leave you nothing.
Yeah. Right.
After
Okay.
July and August, you're right down to the bubble. But
Why don't we wait and see what's how the pump situation works
That's fine.
out, and then
That's fine.
if we
It's
don't.
got 4 tires to hold air, but it's just they're not the best for off road. Okay, great.
And then after I talked to you today, I got a phone call from Dane Whitsett. They said Medic 55 was in the station and they noticed the diesel fuel leak underneath of it.
Okay.
So he just had them run it up to RVs and it's still there right now.
Cool.
I'm waiting to hear back from them.
Do you know if it was under engine or under body? Do you know?
He didn't tell me.
Okay. Cool.
And then other than that, just our call volume that you see there. And unfortunately, we don't have the print off of the run from the last trustees meeting.
I picked up a mud flat for the tanker.
Oh, okay.
I have it in my truck. I'll either give it to you or
When you say you picked it up.
Yeah.
Give me some help.
I just bought
What
it.
vendor, what bill am I gonna get?
Bought it. We needed it. I got tired of running around. I just bought it. The other thing we need to do here real quick is we'll accept this resignation. Trustee Varian moves to accept the resignation of employment for Joshua Peterson.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor, aye? Opposed? All right,
Back down there.
is that it?
That's all I have.
Okay, we'll get to one of these. Seems like you guys always have a bunch of little nickel and dimes on these things every month.
I know, it's true.
Yeah. Always something.
We're getting it fixed up. We have all the vehicles in service. Well, not now. Really excited about that.
All right, cemetery report.
First thing I have is last week, we had another open closing at Indian Run. I turned in the $800 fee for that to Mr. Lowry. I was 2 in 2 weeks up there, so kind of unusually busy for that small cemetery, but that's the way it goes. Spoke with a lady today that's interested in purchasing a lot up there. We're trying to figure out, some of her descendants might have one.
Which cemetery are you talking about?
Indian Run.
Oh, Indian Run.
The last 2 times we've had open closing up there, I've stopped and talked to the people that live there and asked them to keep the dogs. And so far, it's been great. They've not bothered anything. The second thing I had was, I know we talked several times about over at Mapleton, getting some way to block the back driveway so people don't circle around the back of the cemetery. First, we talked about putting a post in, and then we talked about setting one of those concrete barriers. I guess my question is, did we come to a resolution of which one we want to do? And do we want me to get prices on those concrete things, or what do we want to do there? We've got to do something to stop the traffic.
During the walk, over that walking path.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we talking concrete like parking lot stopper or like
No.
like the
The big
freeway one that keeps you from running
Yeah.
into your neighbor?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, not,
Well, not quite that high.
not like that.
2 foot high.
Those 2 by,
Can
2
two
by
men lift
6,
it? No.
or we can go with the half, 3 by,
I think the half would be fine. If we
Yeah,
set it right in the
half
middle
on
of
each.
the driveway.
You think the concrete's gonna look good in there though?
It's the same color.
Better
as the
than seeing
limestone.
people running headstones over all the time and us out
I
there.
mean, why aren't we just putting a couple T-posts in?
They'll run them over.
The thing
Yeah,
is,
they've
we-
already broke- they've
already
Brenda,
broke-
the
they've
thing
already
is, if we
broken
need
a
to
couple
go back
of
in
them.
there and do something,
You can move.
like wanting to reline the driveways. All I gotta do is pick it up with a chain, set it off the side, get in there, do our jobs, and set them back down.
Okay.
You put posts in. huh?
Yeah, I agree, but
Yeah.
they, everything else has been put there, they run it over. Let them
How
run
many
We're
it
we
gonna
over.
need?
run those over.
Do we need 2 of them? 1 on each?
Yes.
Yeah.
One on each side.
You knew somebody that had them. We talked about this a long time
You
ago.
probably did.
Whenever that headstone got run, who was that?
I mean, it's
They
the,
had the blocks.
I have a friend that works for a company over in Alliance.
Who's the union? Yeah, there's a Uniontown guy that does those floors.
You can get, full length, one's half, one's like that. I don't know if, Shelley up here, Central Allied, they sell them too. That's where we got them all for this project here at Valley Brook that time. And I hauled them all down here on our trailer. But those were all full block. It wasn't halves. I don't know if they have halves. But I can talk to my one friend.
Or Diana's might have some. I don't know.
Yeah,
They were
like too.
Yeah. Can we get prices or
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, I can call my buddy and,
is it something we need to approve now up to?
because I think one of their other yards where you can get them from, I thought he said was up here in Akron.
I know in our trade catalogs, there's fancy ones that you fill them with either water or concrete.
With the plastic.
They're plastic covers. Those are $300 or $400.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know what just a cement one would be.
A half a cement one should be less than 100,
Yeah.
or maybe 100.
I was
You
gonna say
could-
we should have $250 tops.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be over that.
Oh, really? It's that
Yeah.
cheap?
for half.
That's what you could get when I get two of them shaped like ghosts or something.
The full one's probably 140 for a full one, so.
So I bought some years
Can-
ago,
can we-
the full ones were like.
Fiscal officer Lowry, do we have $300?
I'm sure it's junk.
Do that?
You're okay in the cemetery.
Okay. Trustee Varian moves to approve up to $300 to purchase 2 blockades for, what'd you say, for Mapleton Cemetery.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right.
The last thing I had is just Wildwood, how do we proceed there, or what are we gonna, what's our next step, I guess?
Rope that area off, catching on fire. The fire department can put it out. Just joking.
I'll leave it
That's off the
burn.
record. What are you thinking up there? Did we get an estimate on dozer work?
Yeah, well, we can, it's gonna be tight on that 2,000. I don't know how, we can probably get it in within that 2,000, but reseeding it.
It's gotta be around 1,600, but I can pull something out of another one because you approved 2,000. But labor and trucks, we've already used about $290.
Yeah, I
can
talked to Andy Parker and he, I think we can get it dozed up for the, we can come in pretty close on the 2,000. We may need, I don't know what we're gonna get into on seeding. Did you ever come up with any idea?
Are you talking about just like after it's graded,
After the
Raking
dozer's
it,
out,
seeding it and strawing it? I'll do that for $250.
Yeah, you're just throwing seed.
I can do that.
Can we do this in-house? Can we rent what we need in-house and not have it hired out? I mean, I don't know how big the area is.
no, it needs a lot of
If
dozer
you,
work.
if you do the dozer work, you're gonna have to pay that, but I don't know if a guy could give you a closer.
Andy, I talked to Andy Parker. I
Right.
told him what we were working with, and he said he thought we could. I got to get him again, but at that time he thought he could come in on that number.
And he has a dozer,
Yes,
does he?
he's
He's
township rep.
done skids work for us, skids work for us at the farm, but
It'll get rid of a lot of problems.
yeah, I didn't know how big it was. I didn't know if we could hire a dozer and do it ourselves, but it's easy.
And we can take care of the 2 trees there.
Okay.
We
So-
can cut them up real quick, knock them down, cut them up, and haul them away over to the dump.
Brian, can we have another 200? If we can get it all done for 2250, we're okay.
Well, he was saying
Everything.
16.
No, I mean that's including the
I'm
money
gonna,
already
I'm gonna
spent.
tell you trustees where you're at. Improvement to the site, unencumbered balance, we have $4,000. Okay, that's for all your cemeteries, that's from now to the end of the year.
Mhm.
Machinery or equipment, something breaks, whatever, something needs done, that's 1,000, so you got $5,000. I haven't encumbered anything but $2,000 of the repair and maintenance that you asked about to do this project originally. So that 2,000's already been done. So right now, if you don't have any other trees fall, things happen, you can get it done, but you gotta be careful the rest of the year.
But how much have you used out of the 2,000 so far?
I said
290.
200 to almost $290,
Okay.
$300.
And you still have a little bit of work down there to do, right?
Mhm.
Well, try and come up with an estimate on time, so I know what I'm working with. Do you think you don't have to do it right this minute, but try and see what you think it's gonna take you to do the trees. 4 hours, 5 hours, so I can get an idea on cost, so I know what I got to work with to get it bulldozed and seeded.
Okay.
And I'll talk to Andy Parker and get a hard number with him for the next meeting.
Brian, I haven't been down there since last week, but were they able to mow around there at all and weed eat or?
I haven't been there in
Okay, 'cause
10
I
days
know,
or so either.
I know he was down there 2 weeks ago, but I didn't get to see if they were able to work around that yet.
They cannot mow where the church site was. He told me they weed eat that every time.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's bad. I wouldn't run my mower across it.
It's rough.
yeah, I got you. Okay.
All right.
Well, we'll have it for the next one. We'll get it all decided. Anything else?
Nope, I'm finished.
Road report.
Good evening, everybody. As the trustees have looked over the road report, is there any questions you'd like to ask?
What was the damage here on Hillville to the road?
A large trackhoe was brought out onto the road to be loaded. And when they come out of the driveway up the street here and twisted it around to straighten up to go down and go on the trailer, ripped the road up.
We had an incident with the guy that did that. He got a little hot with stew. The sheriff was called and a report was filed.
Okay.
So I don't know what's gonna happen from here on that, but what are we waiting on with that, Stu? It's,
I have a case number, and that's more or less up to us if we want to pursue it as far as if the road ends up starting to fall apart or something or whatever up there.
have you been out since?
You mean up to there and looked at it? I drove over.
Has
but
it settled back down or what's it doing or what's?
I was gonna give it like a week or so here, people driving over it and see. I mean, if it doesn't really look bad or something, at all, I could even possibly just very lightly coat it with the Durapatcher.
Where are we talking at on Hillville?
Right up here by Botines.
Across from.
Okay.
The gentleman or the company that was working on it was he was working on his son's house.
Yeah.
Who lives in the township. And the guy that doesn't live in the township that did the damage, but,
Mhm.
well, it doesn't matter, but that's the situation. Stu talked to the resident that night and that seemed to resolve a lot of issues.
Retention.
Trustees, just if you read at number 8 on the agenda, it says fiscal officer give update on prosecutor's office on damage done to township roads. This is what happened, to add into what Stu was able to do. Back when Trustee Puro had helped with that damage we had over there on Stuckey, where that guy company unloaded equipment and tore that up, and we have estimates of $28,500. Trustee Puro had asked, what can we do? And you guys had talked just briefly about it. And what I did is let me work with the prosecutor, see what could be done. So with that being said, Trustee Puro got me the additional information here a few weeks ago, and I called Joel Blue, our chief. He's called the chief of the division of the civil division at the prosecutor's office. He immediately said was a police report filed. He just asked me any filing, any pictures. And I said, well, there was no filing, but what we ran into is all these subcontractors and all these different people. It seemed like we're chasing around. We didn't know if we could get a letter out or something to put some heat on them, because they did kind of smartly said, we'll give you $500 or something like that verbally. And this price was over $28,000 or $29,000 of damage was done. So with that being said, I got all these documents, pictures that the road guys got of that. The prosecutor called me back the next day verbally and says, hey, I got an answer for you to just put not a patch job, but a good answer for you. If you see anyone damaging your roads, whether it's equipment unloading, I use example like logging companies, oil well guys, another situation like they said, as soon as you see that where there's damage being done on a road, that's a criminal act. They're damaging the road. He says, get a police report immediately. You don't have to be the policeman if you don't, you get the police out there, let them file the report. Once they file the report, then it's up to you trustees if you want to pursue with that
Okay.
legal side of it. Now, what happens, because the Stark County Sheriff would represent us, they actually file it and say, here's the case number, which Stu did get on this situation. Because this, here it is. It happened, a week or so after I get this information back. And here's somebody unloading equipment, tearing up a road. And he acted, because he cares about the roads, he acted in a way to get the sheriff involved. Plus, the guy really got lippy and upset. Now, I think a lot of that had been resolved from what Stu had told me. And I think you conveyed that, Trustee Pirro, about, I think, some apologies or half apologies were done. But anytime people destroy our roads, we just get them done and somebody comes in there and trashes them out. A police report is what our prosecutor said to get. Now, how you pursue it after that, if you want to pursue it, it's big damage, you should do it.
As far as going forward, if
Yeah, going
if
forward
they
with
see
it.
anything, we just need to call the sheriff, let them.
Yeah,
handle
let them
the
handle
situation,
it for you.
And then we'll provide action.
That's really kind of funny because there was one of our residents, I'll put it that way, was following a truck with a trailer full of tires. And they turned down one of our township roads. I think it was Indian Run, I think. And so the resident took a picture and sent it to me. I got the picture on the phone. And a guy jumped out of the car following the trailer and jumped into the trailer. So you know what they were going to do. They're going to start throwing the tires out as they're driving down the road.
Oh, gosh.
So that resident called the sheriff and said, I took a picture of them. And the sheriff basically said, we can't help you. If our sheriff doesn't catch them in the act of doing it, it doesn't matter. There's nothing we can do for you. So they weren't willing to do anything.
Well, that's where I talked to
And
the
that's-
prosecutor about that. This is different. They're sitting there unloading. You get the sheriff there right in the act. He does all the investigative
They're
work.
not sitting there. As they're driving down the road, people
Yeah.
are throwing them out
Well,
of the
that's a
back.
tire situation. This is damage.
It is
to-
different, but it's still the same thing.
The laws have just changed. Brenda's right about that, about they can't do anything about it. They're making it tougher now on us along with the police department because like she just said, now we have to catch them in the act, have it on a video, pictures, whatever.
When it can't even be us, it has to be the sheriff.
And that's what's sad.
I don't know why they don't just set up a site. The state should set up a site. Why? They're making it hard. You can't catch them. Well, they're going to do it. Just give them somewhere to put them. You're going to get a lot of tires, or what? You might as well do it. Why pay all these people?
And there is a recycling in Canton. Each resident of Stark County can take in, I think it's 10 tires,
Yeah, not very many.
10 tires a year. Well, how many tires you change off your vehicles?
What these guys are doing is
Exactly.
they're going
taking
in,
money. for
they're
it.
going into little auto garages and
That's
they're getting $3 a tire.
That's
Someone's paying them $3 a tire. They're taking the trailer out and they're dumping it on our township roads.
That's right.
And they're making money on these tires.
Make 100% profit
Sure they are.
because they're not taking them to Liberty Tire or anywhere
That's
like
right.
that to get rid of them.
What you need to do is
right?
get
And
with a
where they
Liberty
have to
Tire, a
pay
big
to get
company
rid
like
of them.
that, and set up a dump site because they're getting paid to pick them up and then they're getting paid for the mulch they produce. Great business to be.
It's illegal to transport.
It's illegal to
more than
transport.
10.
If you have
Time.
8 or 10 tires, you better have a,
Have a
yes.
permit.
Exactly. So why isn't somebody pulling these people over?
Yeah.
And the picture of this truck and trailer is very definitive.
Loaded to the
You're
hilt.
not going to find another truck that looks like
You
this.
better
truck.
have paperwork on it, because if they stop you, they can actually
Yeah.
nail you for having.
What kind of
8 or
trailer?
10
What, a
tires in
dump
the back of your
trailer
truck.
or
No,
just a flat trailer?
I had sides to it.
I seen the picture too. It was sent to me, and
I'll
They were
guarantee
stacked
if
up
I
pretty
tried
high.
it one time, the sheriff would be coming down that road.
the kid was on the trailer like this, holding onto the tire.
Oh, gracious. Surfing, tire surfing.
I'd have to find it.
So, yes, as far as what we were talking about up here on Hillville, I just wanted to let it go for a few weeks with the weather, how warm weather we're going to get.
See if it'll settle.
Yeah, let traffic go over, see what it looks like. I think at the worst, I don't think it's going to be bad. I could maybe, like I said, just very slightly skim coat that with the Durapatcher, and you'll never probably notice it. But something like out on Stuckey where they just blew the whole roads right into the ditch. That was major damage there.
All right. All right, well, what I have is on the mine roads down there. Me and Stu met on the 14th with Terry and Bob Seitz from CCU. They had no complaints. They're coming back in probably another week here, and they're gonna bring a grader and a roller and grade it to the dimensions that we need, and then they're gonna put 411s down and pack them in. That was what the contractor's recommendation was, to have the road ready.
And they were good with all that. There was no.
Yeah, they said they wanted to know what they need to do now. They said they're not coming back.
When they come, they
So
want
we'll
to
make
finish
it
it
right.
right.
Want to be
get out
done.
there, Be done.
Right.
All right.
They didn't balk it on.
Didn't they have a culvert they had to work on? Yeah.
There's a culvert down by Tom.
Ponds,
They have to take
tear
out.
that out. They have to
Okay.
push some ponds back, shut.
So they're gonna do all that.
Well,
Yep. Oh, yeah.
depends. It depends on how fast or when they can get like some of those ditches, they have to get the okay from the state to be able to push them shut. That ditch coming down around where that water's going
Oh,
underneath the road there.
Yeah, he
that
told me he
Bosser-
thought that those would be fine to get rid of now.
Well, I talked to him just the other day here again to let him know we put that culvert in. Me and Brian went out last Thursday and put the other culvert across.
There's a culvert at the low spot, and it's not very good for drainage, so we
came
came
back
up the
down
road a little
to
bit and
the
put
west a
another one
little
in
bit.
just in case, so we don't have any issues down the
Yeah.
road. But they didn't give us a hard time. They just said, we're not coming back again. We want to fix it right. We'll do it now, but we're not coming back. I said, that's all we asked for. And the other thing we have to do is amendment for the bids for the Stuckey, Sam Cable, Mott's, and Old Sindel. So there's,
What it was, I want to help here with trustee Pirro. You all trustees have made 3 bids for motions to do bid packages. One was for microsurfacing, which we ended up doing that, and you chose the, help me out, Strasser Company for that project. But the other 2 were separated out. One was the Old Sindel from San Crable to Route 30. And the other one was Stuckey over to Parks. And then I'm going to look here.
Sam
Make sure I'm looking
Crable
at- and from the entrance of the mining out to Route 30. The other part of that was Mott's, where this culvert, not the damaged area, this was a culvert that was put in. I needed to get that in there, and I needed to get Old Sindel put in as one package. I just wanted to word it so it's one package to do it all, because it's going to be, I think, the best way to do this package is to bid it all as one package. So when the equipment's in there, everybody, whoever is awarded, can give us the best price that way to do the whole
we'll
thing.
get
What if we don't do it all?
we can,
Depends if you got to wait till you see the bids and see where you're at. But we have some rough quotes and projections, and those rough quotes, it's workable.
we can take off from the bid. The problem is if you bid them all separate, if a company comes in and they'll say, all right, so if they're bidding to get the whole job, they can save you money, because if they have to bid
Yeah.
in fear of not getting this one or that one, they'll raise the
If they're only
price.
coming in for a quarter-mile stretch, it's gonna be
Yeah,
high.
pay for it.
So we'll bid for everything, and then we can adjust from there, or accept as.
In the bid package, it'll be in there. You trustees have the right to take something off or adjust if you need to. Okay?
All right, so
You're just amending.
Trustee Pirro moves to amend 21-136 and 21-137 to have a bid package prepared for overlaying of
You could just say it like by Stuckey, San Crable, Mott's, and Old Sindel. And I can word it in there just like that is.
Okay,
From start point to finish, I'll go with Stu. because when you're talking Stuckey, you're talking from Parks over to Mott's.
Or right where Mott's butts
Yeah, where
into
Mott's
Stuckey.
comes into Stuckey. And then you're talking about Mott's, the section that
That
needs
little
done.
short
It's just a
section right
little
there.
short section. Then you're talking San Crable where it meets with,
From the entrance.
yes, and then Old Sandell where it goes up to
San Crable.
San Crable out to Route 30.
All right, so I move to make amendment to the 21-136, 21-137 for Stuckey, Sam Crable, Mott's, and Old Sindel project. Is that enough?
Yeah, I can get it. That'll be good.
Trustee Varian, second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye, opposed? That's all I got. I don't know, you got anything else too?
I wanted to
Refrigerator.
get an okay on buying a bearing for the mow trim, the flail mower. The two bearings that we ordered through Yoe's were not the right bearing. Plus, Randy looked at the bearing today with me. Mike Novelli tried to press it apart, could not get it apart.
I believe that there's an inner snap.
Yeah.
Well, mower's down, so I said, well, we need to get a bearing. I'm gonna work on getting the top bearing out. I think it's pushed
It's
together.
pushed down now.
And
Now
then-
I tried to force it, now it's down.
No, I think that's how it's assembled. Once I get that one out, I'll know. And then if it's good, then we have the casting, we can put the bearings in, which were a lot less, then we'll have a spare. So,
Okay,
but right now we got the mowers down. I can't mow.
okay.
So where are we at with our road program, the mowing?
We've pretty much almost went the whole way around the whole township, just one pass. The lease knocked stuff back from the edge of the road. Because we had the boom mower go down first, we fixed it. Then the flail mower went down, now the boom mower broke down again on Friday.
Yeah.
So they're both sitting there, broke down again.
So when we do this again, do you think we'll be hitting them a little better then?
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as we keep them both running, we're gonna.
They've been
knock them.
hit or miss, kind of one running, one
Yeah,
not. And
yeah,
we
yeah.
just keep them going.
And I thought at least we got around, the only thing we didn't get one pass on was inside the woodland allotment over here off of 30, which there's not that much even in there to mow. Most people will have everything mowed right out to the road. But at least we got one pass from the road
Right.
back. So it isn't high like you see the state roads are looking like a mess.
I'm just curious,
And the counties.
just curious. Is there a company out there that rents this type of equipment for a township that might have like a bad failure and need to keep going?
I do not know.
I was just curious.
No, I really don't.
I mean, because everything breaks.
Right.
I mean,
There's probably companies.
Well,
there's probably companies that mow.
they run their
Right,
equipment. Yeah. Just curious to know.
The situation with the flail mower, that bearing going out, that's the original bearing from the thing when it was built. So,
We got some life out of it.
yeah. And then the boom mower breaking down again, he was out running it the other day, Brian was, and the main lever that lifts the main boom arm up, either there's something wrong with the cable or there's something wrong in the valve body, which I'm thinking it's in the valve body. It's something stuck. So we're trying to get that, we're trying to get the right rear tire off the tractor so I can get to them because everything's so tight. But I got to get Ziegler or somebody out tomorrow to try to break the bolts loose because they're so tight we can't even break them loose.
Haven't you been working out?
Yeah.
This 298 number is no good, is it, Stu?
What?
That 298 isn't good price, is it? The bearings.
On your bearings, you had the original ones before you
That
got the price.
298 was from Yoe's for that.
Right, it's 800.
This one where you're getting from Motrim is 830.
There's another one on there. That's why I'm gonna
Got it.
try and get it off. Because we can get the bearings, we believe. Well, I'm sure we can get the bearings. But in order to keep it going, I said, let's get one. Then we'll have this one for spare when the other one goes bad that they can fix it quick.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So what do you need? Do you need a
Okay.
motion for any of that?
so you need something for 800 and something.
830.
So a motion that we purchase.
Well, let me say that again. 830 plus shipping. 830 for the bearing
For
alone.
Motrin for a bearing for 830 plus shipping costs to keep the mower, get it back in service.
Trustee Varian, second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
And that was this morning, so it might be here tomorrow.
It might be.
UPS, he said it
We'll
was just sent
see.
right out.
So you don't need the 298 now.
You know, just so
No.
we know, our public, they
Yeah.
do watch. But I
Yeah.
had a resident from over Sindelway call me and say, usually they mow and do a really good job. They mow, but it wasn't like they normally do. And I responded, well, we've had a few breakdowns. I didn't know about the other, but I knew we'd had some breakdowns. So people we do such a great job. They notice when we're
Yep.
not mowing
But
quite
every
as
year
well.
isn't gonna be the same. It's like this. We've had breakdown after breakdown.
That happens.
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
And these are not things that we're just neglecting. These are just wear and tear.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
So this next one, you want to keep your sandwich cold, huh?
Refrigerator, bed, and the garage.
That and an ice cube. Ice cube.
One single ice cube.
So do we get any price? And my question would be,
No.
why aren't we just getting a small, regular sized refrigerator with a freezer instead of that little under the counter thing?
That is a full size.
It is a full size out
Not
here.
Well, he's talking about the one. He's talking about
our
our
Oh, I
refrigerator
know you were
out.
talking about that thing there. We
No.
don't want to replace that.
No, it works fine.
Okay.
We're talking about a
big one.
refrigerator.
They
out here.
had their big one that was in the garage. It was donated. I believe it was Dick Grunder.
Yeah.
Had donated that, and it's been running all these years. And it finally went on a blink. And I know these guys put all four of them. They got their lunches in there,
Yeah.
water, and all this stuff. so.
Yeah. Okay. I
I
can
don't
say
know.
it doesn't pay to buy one of them.
No.
Well, what do we want to spend?
I don't know. I could just need a price at first, see what they're out there. We probably can get under state bid a lock on refrigerators. I would think that they're under state bid too.
I was gonna say, yeah, either that or check with Groves.
I was
and
gonna say,
Lions for a scratch,
I buy everything at Groves and they're scratching that.
Me too.
And they'll bring it right down.
They'll bring it to you, they'll take the old one away.
That's where I get my stuff.
Call my boy Chaz over there, and he usually gets me the same thing.
So what's a refrigerator cost?
So I just have to, I mean, they're,
That's how big the den is.
how big the den is.
Right.
For what you need out here, 300 or under. I mean,
Really? I'm not sure. I haven't bought one in a long
$500
time.
$500 refrigerator, stainless steel with a drinks dispenser in it. I'm not saying it's $10,000.
Yeah, you can buy a refrigerator, freezer,
Yeah.
with all the
No
bells and
frills.
whistles
Right.
for under $500.
Well, you don't want to hook this water up to it.
Oh,
so you
no,
wouldn't want-
no,
you
we do
wouldn't
not
want
need
that.
that.
But they'll haul the old one away for you. I mean, if
Just
you
a
want
plain
to
Jane
set it up.
refrigerator with a
But
freezer.
AEP had a deal going, if you buy a new refrigerator, they would pay you $50 or $100 for your refrigerator. They'd come
The
and
old
get
one,
it.
really?
Yeah.
Check out AEP.
Who's
Yeah,
that?
we did that.
Residential
That's been a
account.
while. I don't know if they're still
Yeah.
doing that or not.
What?
Has to be a residential account.
They were
Oh,
sending like coupons
Not a
or
go.
flyers out. If you're-
Drag it to your house.
I just went on Monday when I had one break.
Yeah, I'd say Groves.
Check.
Good deal on Groves when they'll drop it.
Gross, we can do that.
They're local enough.
Well-
Compliant.
If I get a rainy day this week, maybe I'll run
Brian,
over
what
there
fund
and
would
see.
we take that out of for us here at the garage?
Usually I would go right out of the general fund. But I could take it out of the miscellaneous. I do have a fund there that has about $500 out of the road, like we pay all the expenses like electric and all those things
Okay,
for the road department.
yeah.
So we
that sounds
can,
good.
we can approve up to 500.
Well, whatever, I was looking, a quick look, whether I do a combination, a little out of the general fund and a little out of one of the road, because it's for the road department, for
Yeah.
those guys.
If you're gonna call for a scratch and dent, they got it, you got
Buy a
it.
Yeti with some ice. And you find
It won't be there, it won't be there 3 weeks from now.
Yeti will be more than the
Just
fridge.
to-
A big Yeti
just
would be
to
more-
keep-
a big
keep
Yeti's more than a
trustees,
fridge.
Wherever you go get it, we gotta be tax exempt on where you make the move.
We good
I can give them a call
That's all
even
we're saying.
tomorrow and just see what they got.
Yeah,
Like
give them
in
a call.
Grove City.
Groves, yeah,
Yeah.
compliance.
See what they have, and then it's not gonna hurt you to, because we have a card at Lowe's, call Lowe's and ask them for a state bid price on a plain refrigerator
Right.
with the freezer, just to compare.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Can do
They'll
that.
give you a state bid at Lowe's.
Cool.
Anything else?
I hope I don't have any more problems with the Russell Standard up there. That last load of emulsion we got was terrible. It was like, it sounds like they've been sitting there cooking the heck out of that stuff because they have not been busy. And
You got it.
it's been just sitting there, and I had to mix 4 gallons of mineral spirits to thin it down.
To make it come out the
And it
lawn.
still didn't want to come out right.
Can we do it for 5 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. Just do something if it's,
Right.
that way you can get it going.
All right, Trustee Bureau moves to authorize you up to $500 on this refrigerator.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Check both places to see what you can get best price. I don't want you getting sick eating spoiled sandwiches. All right, zoning.
Oh, one more thing. Have we heard from the builder when he's gonna start the salt bin?
No, I know Stu has today. He's coming in, he had the color charts and he asked me for the drawings because they want to do a site drawing to blend this all in. And last week when I called, he called back and said he apologized, he'll be in. I said, you didn't forget about us, did you? He said, no, I didn't forget. So I was hoping maybe Stu would tell me, because when I leave in the morning, sometimes he'll call in and talk to Stu because he's supposed to get Stu some pricing on this concrete
Mhm.
slabs out here and stuff, so. I did do a purchase order to tie that money all up officially. So it is, you'll see that in your signatures that I got that all in there, so it's done.
All right. Zoning.
So since we last met, there were 2 permits issued, one for garage, one for a pool. And then for the nuisances, the one on Broadway, he did call in and I spoke to him. He is working on it and I drove by and he is working on it. I see some improvements. He said it will take him a little bit of time to get everything cleaned up. So he's willing to work with us if he needs to move stuff faster or whatever we need. And that's pretty much all I had for nuisances.
I'm just curious, is he running, is all his personal stuff, is he running a business out of the garage, you know?
He said it's all personal.
Okay.
He strictly said it was not a business.
Gotcha.
And he
He's
talked.
a collector.
Mm-hmm.
He talked with Michelle, so he knows what he needs to do, and he's working on it.
Okay.
2 weeks from today, we'll have our landfill hearing, and then our next commission meeting will be June 21st.
Your landfill, I got confirmation that ad it ran on Fridays, Press News, and I have it on the website. I will get a confirmation notarized document for you,
Okay.
Mary, that you can have for your records.
Okay.
All right. I got formally take Heather Bailey off payroll monthly salary. We need a motion for that.
Probably we should make a motion that May here was her last month. So when May finishes, she'll be done. She will be available for consulting if we run into a problem. And we can always reach out to her and she'll answer the questions if we need to. So when I spoke with her last, we agreed May would be the last month that we kept her on employee, as an employee.
And I did pay when we paid all the elected
Okay.
officials and that, she was paid. That's why formally, you might want to do something starting in June. She's not on there.
Okay, so I'll make a motion beginning June 1st that Heather Bailey is no longer an employee of the township.
Trustee Varian, second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Do you want a little thank you?
I was
in the
gonna say, is that something we
resolution?
could do to thank her? Like, I mean, she helped us out, got us through a little card or something.
Yeah,
Text-
I can.
Text message that says, thanks for helping us out.
I can put something together.
Yeah, text message probably sends a card anymore, right?
I'll do something for her.
All right.
I'll put all of our names on it.
That's all. All right, old business.
I stuck that on there about that. I get all the reports from the state of Ohio and that notice about June 2nd, that the mask mandate is over for vaccinated people. And we continually, I get that and I make copies and then I keep a folder for all that if anyone comes in and asks about all that stuff.
All right,
I will add that we had our first Stark County Township Association meeting last
yeah, I couldn't go.
week. And now they're taking attendance of each township to see who's missing. So there were only 4 townships missing having a representative. So, and it was the State Highway Patrol that was there.
How was it?
It was very, very good. They gave a lot of enlightenment. The one, I think you probably remember the incident where someone had went into the Bob Evans and shot some other people. That resident was in our township. They were telling us about the air surveillance that they now have available, the state police. And it was very interesting. There's a plane and they keep for this area specifically, and that it can be so high in the sky, this is the part that blew me, that we don't normally see it, but it can pull your license plate while you're driving down the road.
Wow,
There you go.
wow, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
scary.
Did they say what happened, what to the property, the resident, where the felon was hiding out? I was just curious.
They
Did they get
did go
arrested
in-
too? Or you don't know?
I don't know. They didn't go into detail on that. It was more on what resources they have available and how they use them. That's what the talk was about.
It's just wild. They can be up there.
That's what I thought. They could pull your plate while you're driving down the road
And you can't see the plane in the
and you
sky.
can't see the plane in the
Wow.
sky. So I thought that was, interesting.
Zoom.
But it was a
Yeah.
very interesting conversation. I had them drop me off what I was trying to do is get an answer. Is there a standard formula for overweight trucks? Because different agencies seem to figure it differently. And so he brought me, had him drop it off here, some scales, and I'll get you a copy of it. But that's,
You bringing that up when we had the incident out here Friday.
Yeah.
Deputy Newman pulled up here in the parking lot afterwards and had checked that trailer.
That truck looked overweight.
It wasn't.
It looked,
But-
He has a chart on that computer and it gives out lengths, weights, all the different things, and it tells you that fat. He can look at it and tell by measuring and everything. And it
But
was,
they do it differently. The state
Yeah.
doesn't do it that way. The state does it a different way. So that's what I don't want to say it was a complaint, but where is there a standardization? Because it shouldn't matter which road you're driving on, how it's figured. And that's really what it is right now, depending on what road you're on. Which-
They figure your weight different.
well,
they
your
figure
axle
your-
weights are different on certain roads.
Not the weight on the road, the weight that your truck's allowed to haul is figured differently by different agencies.
Well,
So basically it's a crapshoot.
yeah, they can do whatever they want.
They can. Oh, and I'll give you one more tip they told me. not me personally, but someone asked, how fast can we go on the highway without getting pulled over?
Oh, what a question. Might as well, got a captive audience.
They said, well, the joke normally is 9, you're fine, 10, you're mine.
What was the guy's name?
You know, you bring the paper, I'll bring it next time. Where did I stick it?
Because a friend of mine, his brother was a state highway patrol. That was what he always said. I just wonder if it was him.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Well, he said that's what they say back in the
They
office,
might
but he
all
said
say
it's
that.
up to the individual officer. They can do what they want. I'll bring it next time. I thought I put it in my purse and I didn't. But I thought that was funny. I thought, why would you ask how fast can I go over? You shouldn't be going over.
Please state your name.
He did give me his business card so that he could bring me his charts for overweight. And I asked him, does this business card give me one free overweight and get out of jail?
Right.
But he said no. So, but anyway, it was a nice presentation. But we need to make sure that we're at least having someone go to each of those county meetings now, because they are checking attendance on that. That's why I mentioned it, is because of that.
Alright. Approval to request advance of taxes collected.
Yeah, trustees, every year, and I missed this earlier, I should have done this back in February, but our Stark County auditor automatically advances all the money as he got it. So I need an official resolution. The president of the board usually signs it, and then I submit that in, so we get our money as quick as the county gets it. And you're gonna laugh when you see a couple down the list there, what happened there. I'm gonna be asking you, give the county back some money.
I seen that.
I'll explain that when we get to that one, but this one is one where I would just need the board resolution is what I always get to do that, and just sign there. So if
Trustee
you guys
Barrow
will make
moves to request the advance of taxes collected.
Trustee Barry in second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next one, part of our receiving our tax money in the 2141 that's brought into the township, we twice a year give the share to the East Canton Village, their levy money. Usually that's been running about 29,000. It's a little bit higher this year, but that 31,484.56. I always ask for a resolution to release that check to them. I have that prepared tonight for you. If you can do that for me.
I'll make a motion to pay the East Canton Village their road levy money totaling $31,484.56.
Trustee Barry in second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next one, this is just to go to show you, we all make mistakes. But the Stark County Auditor, this happened 2 years ago, where they started the share of money that comes from the state that went to the county auditor. Then they would distribute to us the share of the state taxes, the property taxes that was collected by the auditor would then be distributed to us as state audit money. Well, 2 years ago, they started getting that directly from the state. So I get a deposit twice a year for our first and second half property taxes directly from the state. But that amount is issued from our county auditor to the state. And I have attached to that check of $83,000. We had an $83,758.43 overpayment on Friday morning when Sue and I were doing our normal check of the bank. I couldn't understand why we had this big deposit from the state. I was expecting $52,000 is what should have been coming. And when I saw it, I looked through all my notes, everything. I'm thinking, where'd this come from? So
What was the deposit?
what's that?
Was it over 100,000 then?
Yeah, it was $134,000.
Okay.
So what ended up happening, I emailed John, which the county office don't come in till after 8:30. By the time I got to work and I started getting emails, here he messed up accidentally. He admitted it. Everyone in our township, all the
In the county.
in the county.
Oh, my.
And give you an example, Jackson's supposed to get like 700. He gave me the report of all of us. They're supposed to get like $701,000. They only got 27,000.
So they were a little
That was
under.
a shock.
Just a little under.
Perry Township was supposed to get 301. They got ours of 52,000.
Oh, gosh.
We got them as shillings.
So he asked you to send back the difference, not the whole thing.
Right.
They didn't want everyone to send it all back and redo.
Right.
They're just.
So
man,
what he
that's-
had, if you look at the check,
Awful.
the check there, I attached all the paperwork to it. There's a whole report there. You'll see who was overpaid, who was underpaid. But instead of us sending it back to the state, they want it back to the county auditor because he made a mistake, and then he's going to redistribute it immediately as fast as he gets that money back.
So as soon as we can send it back,
Yeah.
that's the best case.
What's unusual about this, usually as a fiscal officer, I get money in, I'm supposed to go and get it certified, then appropriated and all that. What I was able to do with some of the training I had and some suggestions of how to do this, I receipted the whole amount, but I took that 83,000, put it in the general fund because I have to receipt the money into something. But I can do what's called under a utility, I can create that warrant, that check that you all see
And cut it back.
and cut it back.
Yep.
So what's left, the balance is left is what our township is supposed to get.
Trustee Varian moves to return the overpayment to the Stark County Auditor of $83,758.43.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
The next one there, resolution to spend the remaining CARES Act fund. What we have with the interest that was left, that was the CARES Act that was started last year, is $26.71. I was gonna buy some PPE equipment, some more masks, just something to use that up because I want to get that done.
Get that closed.
Yeah.
Trustee Varian moves to spend $26.71 of CARE Act funds.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. The last one, Sue had got this through Ohio Billing. When I questioned her, then she runs it by regional collection. They recommended, you have done this before, I'm double checking my date here, I looked at it earlier. Yeah, dated on March 5th of 2020. This is uncollectible amount of $154.56. I would ask the trustees to approve us writing that off our books under the recommendation of regional.
Trustee Pure moves to write off $154.56 for unable to collect for medical run.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
That's all I got except for very good.
Yeah, before I do that, I will mention that I have attended the monthly Route 30 extension meetings through the Tri-County, 3 counties, and they are on, well, they have several grants out pending, but there's a new track grant that's due by July 13th, I think, that they'll be submitting for.
Big one.
Yeah, and so.
Couldn't fund the project, big one, or not?
I believe there's still some utilities moving that needs to be covered and
Okay.
1 or 2 properties to purchase.
Okay.
This is gonna cover all of that and plus more.
Okay.
But I think to cover that remaining pieces they still have, I'm going by memory now, but I thought they needed like 15 million to finish what they have to do yet.
Okay.
And this grant is more than that, but it'll definitely finish that. There's a few things they have to do yet. So,
I have one thing real quick. Any more word on the water tank? The old insert for the brush truck.
that we had for sale.
Right now, I have that down to on Facebook Marketplace and on our website,
Okay.
lowered to, I've been doing $500 increments. I
Sure.
started at 2,500 weeks ago. I haven't made a move this week.
It's fine. We've got no calls.
I'm glad you
This point-
said something
this
because
point we have
I-
zero phone calls on it.
I make a motion, we take it to Kego auction next, it's online, next week.
I
Their
picked it up.
county auction barn up there.
I picked it up from the fire department because I didn't want it in their way, so it's sitting in one of my trailers at the farm because I was waiting for a phone call.
If that's their spring sale, there'll be as many. If anybody's gonna see it, they'll see it.
Where are you right now with it, Brian? Where do you have it
That's
posted?
what I want to double
$1,000
check. I
bucks?
think I'm at $1,000 and I haven't even had one nibble and I thought I switched it around from garden equipment to
Yeah,
farm machinery,
no one's
just
buying.
to see if somebody would nibble. I did
Okay.
see some other water tanks and
Yeah.
setups. They were all moving, they looked like they moved in the $400 to $500 range, but ours looks really nice compared to that stuff.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
All right, so if I were to take that over there and enter it into the, well, you're talking the Kiko barn in Marlboro?
Yeah.
The barn over there?
Yeah, they'll be taking stuff this week. Like,
Okay, so can I just call them and set up a time to take it over, or are they open?
I'll send you the text message of the guy you need to call.
All right, perfect. I'll do
Yeah.
that. It's in my trailer right now. Hook the trailer up, drop it off. We'll tag it as Osnaburg Township and
Yeah.
get it sold.
Do you
Great.
need a motion for that, Brian?
yeah, because right now your last motion was to sell it and then let me work the price. We're down to $1,000 now. I would,
Okay.
being we haven't had any nibbles on it, but I think like Trustee Puro said, it might go for more than that.
Trustee Varian moves to sell the water tank that was once in the fire department brush truck at the local Kiko auction to be held in the next 10 days. Something like
I
that.
think it starts on the
Okay.
29th.
And then pull it off of Marketplace.
And Trustee Varian will be responsible for taking it over, entering it into the auction.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
And then the last thing I had real quick, Rick, we have parade, enough people to drive stuff in the parade? Or will we not?
What day that is?
Monday,
It's
Memorial
It's
Day.
Memorial Day.
It'll probably just be the on-duty crew.
Okay.
So we could take,
Two?
well, we probably can only take one vehicle because if they get a call, they can't leave the
They
other one
can't leave
sit
that
out
one
there.
set.
So they can drive the fire truck if you.
Okay, all right, cool. I'm just curious. I'm not in charge of the parade.
I can check with,
The lineup starts at 9:30.
Yeah,
at
I'm
the
calling
school
it
parking lot.
9:30.
at the,
They could come later because you're
I
gonna
should
be
be able
the
to be there
end.
by then.
okay.
Okay.
I'll
Just,
check and see if,
just curious.
if somebody else can come in, then I'll have them bring another one up.
Okay,
But if it's just the on-duty crew, they'll just have the fire truck.
sounds good.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to go to executive session for personnel matters, which refers to appointment, employment, promotion, or compensation of a public employee, official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, regulated individual. Also, we will be discussing item number 5, matters required to be kept confidential.
Trustee Varian second.
No action will be taken.
We're going to put down 9 o'clock
Yeah.
and then I'm going to start shutting off all the equipment here.
Oh, one more thing, we're inviting zoning inspector Mary Brocker to that executive session.